And good evening and welcome to Dave's Tackle Box. It's Sunday, the 10th of February 2013, and the time is 9 o'clock.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
And on tonight's show, we've got lots of things indeed. Later in the show, I'll be showing you some video of my trip down to South Wales last week at the Panthrwydyn farm in Pencoed, where it was the South Wales vaping mini-meet, and it was good. And there will be things like rotting shark juice, yes, another delicacy, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Smoke alarms going off and all sorts of things basically in this VT, and that's coming up towards the end of the show. In between now and then, we're going to be joined by Tim Boniface, who's got a couple of interesting topics. We've got a couple of things that we're going to talk about tonight. I gather he's plugging a meet of his own, this is the right show to plug vape meets. We like that. But also, he's stumbled across a story which I think is going to generate quite a lot of debate in chat. So I'm going to do my best to actually monitor what's going on in chat while we're having that conversation. And because I think you're going to find it interesting. It's something that should get the mental juices flowing. And also, we're going to be debating a poll. I set up a poll a couple of days ago. I think it was on Friday morning, just before I went to see my MP. Because I was curious to see what people will do if the proposed changes to the Tobacco Products Directive go through, and we end up not being able to buy juice like this that we like and currently use. I mean, they'll be gone if this goes through. So I asked the question, what will people do? And we'll have a look at the poll and the results of the poll as it's gone on so far, and a couple of the comments that people have made. And I'm interested to get Tim's take on that as well, and see what the reaction in chat is. So we're going to be looking at that. I've got a new toy, and I can quickly just show you there's my new toy. It is, as many of you will recognise, an eVic, but it's a slightly different version of the eVic. I'm not going to be going into huge detail on this tonight, but I thought I'd show you to let you know I'm getting on with it before I have a more detailed look at it next week. But this is the Ovali branded eVic, not the Joytech branded eVic. So we'll be having a look at that. And then before we get to all of that though, I want to just go back to a comment I just made, just roll the clock back slightly and talk about a trip I made on Friday. So that's the day before yesterday. I managed to get an appointment to see my local MP. I've written to my MEPs. I've had a couple of responses, and they're much in line with those that have been discussed on the UK Vapers Forum. They're sort of boilerplate or template letters, which don't give much away. But I had sort of fairly high hopes of going to see my MP. The process for getting the Tobacco Products Directive revised involves votes from MEPs, but it also involves votes from member state health ministers. And I was hoping that maybe I'd be able to get this escalated to the health minister by talking to my MP. So Friday morning came. I was really quite nervous about this, actually. I mean, I was very confident in what I wanted to say. I was very confident that I was not asking for something stupid and ridiculous. I just wanted to hear the guys say, yeah, I'll support you and this is what we're going to do. But what I did, I took the camera along with me. Obviously I didn't take it into the meeting with my MP. But just I was thinking out loud really on camera as I went there. And so one of my monitors just decided to shut down on me. That's fine. And this is what I came back with. So, you know, it's not a particularly beautifully edited video, but it gets the message across. So this is what happened late morning Friday. What I'm going to do first, though, is click the right video. The one that says MP. I'm going to try that again. This is what happened late morning Friday. Right, well, I'm on my way to see my MP. And I don't mind admitting I'm a little bit nervous about it. Obviously I'm going to talk to him about the EU Tobacco Products Directive, and specifically the proposed changes that, well, let's face it, most vapers should know about now. But if we take these proposals at face value, then the e-liquid I've got in this e-cig here, I won't be able to use it anymore because it's more than 4 milligrams per milliliter in strength. This is a 25 milligram, I believe, and I don't want to buy it in 1 ml vials either. And I want to be able to use it on this eVic. So the purpose of me going to see him is to make sure that he's aware of this legislation that might happen, and to and convince him, if he needs it, of why it's a stupid idea and why I think the British government should be opposing it. If I understand the process correctly, our MEPs will get a vote, and I've written to them. But in addition, the UK Health Minister, all of the EU health ministers are required to vote on this before it's passed. And I want to make sure that my MP, who happens to be a Conservative MP, but that's not really relevant, I want to make sure he's petitioning the health minister to oppose this, and if not, I want to understand why not, and get in his face a bit about it. I've no idea. I've sent in some information ahead, some links, some information about who I am and what my interest is. But mostly, I'm not going to go in there and pretend to be a scientist or a politician. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to show him some e-cigs. I've put together a little kit to show him. Right, so what I'm going to take along with me is I'm going to take something that he might recognise as an e-cig. I'm going to take along the ovale ellipse, okay, just to demonstrate that they don't have to look like cigarettes. And I'm also putting in some of these sort of hygienic mouthpieces for this, so if you, I'm not sure if he's a smoker or not, but if he wants to go with it, I can pop one of these on and say, here, have a go. No idea whether this will be needed or whether he's just going to tell me to clear off. And then I thought it's probably worth me taking an ego of some description. So I've no idea what brand this is. That could be a Beyonce I missed. I've no idea what that tank is on the top. Apollo. Oh yeah, I got that from Irish Vape Fest, I remember now. So I'll pop that in just to point out that that's, you know, a popular sort of size. And they're going to take this to show them that there's technology involved, and why not? This is flavour of the minute, so I'll take this along too and show these to him. A late edition, I'm also going to show him a bottle of juice, which is chip compliant with the tactile triangle and everything. It happens to be a Flavour Art UK, could just as easily have been one of the Decang bottles for Vapor World there, or Decadent Vapors, but I want to show him that, you know, there are regulations, you know. Again, might not be relevant, but I think I'm pretty well prepared with that little lot to show him some stuff if he's interested. So hopefully that little lot will give him an idea that, you know, the e-cigs are not some sort of flash in the pan fad, and that it's something that we vapers take very seriously. I'm not going to take the camera in with me. I'm not that brave, and I'm not sure he would agree to be on camera at this first discussion anyway. So when I get there, the camera will go off, and then when I come out, hopefully I'll be in a position to say that he fully supports us, and will recommend to our health minister that we oppose this at the EU. That'd be the ideal outcome from this. So let's see. Well, I'm here, so let's do this. Well, I'm not totally sure how that went, frankly. I got the impression that he didn't want to do the detail today, so I had a number of prepared things in my head that I wanted to say. I wanted him to understand that this is really a big deal, and I'm not sure if I got that message through. To summarise, I've been asked to put my case and my concerns down in writing and send it to him. His research team seemed more, he had a couple of assistants with him, and they did seem a little bit more interested than he was. Obviously I haven't collected my thoughts really, I've got straight back in the car here. I don't think it was a total disaster. He basically said that if I assemble everything in writing for him, he will top and tail it, to use his words, his expression, and then send it on to the Minister for Health for the UK, who he referred to by first name, which may be a good thing. He basically said he's going to support it and register his opposition to it, but that seemed to be more due to the fact that, in his own words, he was anti-regulation, rather than him understanding and appreciating our concerns. He informed me that he is a traditional smoker, which I thought was a nice choice of words. I offered to send him an e-cig. He didn't seem that keen. So, to be honest, I'm not actually sure how much impact that has had. He did say, you know, make sure that people, your campaign, as he referred to it, is contacting all MPs and MEPs, and I said we're doing that. I don't know, maybe I think I expected a bit more engagement from him. I know they're busy people. The waiting room was full of his next appointments, but Yeah, I think I think I was expecting a bit more reaction, but he is going to sort of petition the health minister, so not a total disaster. He also complimented me on the area I live in and asked me if I was pro-European. Yeah, it's going to take me a while to mull this one over and decide, I think, whether that was a successful meeting or not. It wasn't a disaster. I got what I wanted. I think I probably should be happy. Yeah, I'm happy enough. Now, obviously, that was a couple of days ago, and I had a bit of a drive home, and I've thought about it a bit since. And I think probably you could see my thought process during that VT there. I mean, I wondered if I'd just been sort of fobbed off, and I think to a large extent I was. I saw a couple of comments in chat there, and I agree with some of them. And the upshot of it was the guy's a smoker. He made a point of pointing out that he smokes. He called himself a traditional smoker, right? Which is fine. But I also, having thought about it a bit, I'm pretty sure that because I was in there talking something about e-cigs, in his mind, he heard, oh, he's an e-cig user, therefore he's anti-smoking. And I've got some sympathy with that point of view, to be honest with you, because you know what they say, there's nothing worse than a reformed smoker. And I think that he wasn't totally dismissive of me, but I think he probably saw me as somebody who advocated giving up smoking, which, for anybody that I've spoken to, would know that that's not the case. So I think he was a little bit defensive, is maybe what was going on there. But the more I thought about it, the more, you know, like I said, there was comment in chat there saying it sounds like he didn't know about e-cigs and he wasn't interested, and that was a fact, right? He was interested in who controlled e-cigs. He asked me the question, who owns e-cigs in this country? And I said, well, nobody. And he said, well, is it tobacco or pharma? And I said, well, the big tobacco companies are starting to buy e-cig companies, but at the moment they're not major players. And although that's likely to change if they go the MA route, and that kind of irritated me a bit, you know, but hey, that's politicians for you, isn't it? They're not going to really let you get your argument across if they don't want to hear it. But it was a successful visit because he's going to support it. He's supporting it for his own reasons, not my reasons. Okay? He's anti-Europe. He's in his own words, he said, I'm anti-regulation. And he was quite proudly looked me in the eye and told me that. So for... You know, and the anti-regulation bit, at least, is something that I can't argue with. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If I give him the substance of the message, he's going to, as I saw people questioning the term top and tail, it was his expression. What he means is he'll do an introductory paragraph and a conclusion suggesting what he thinks they ought to do. He said he wants it debated in London. So whether that's Parliament or some parliamentary committee, I don't know. He's just one MP of the 650 or whatever there are of them, but he's going there saying, I've heard about this, I think it's a bad idea, I think we should discuss it. That's a result. I just want to make a just get on my soapbox a little bit actually here, as well. The petitions, there's a lot of talk about signing petitions. I haven't signed the latest couple of petitions going round, and the reason is I think they're badly written and they're not the message that I'm arguing against. And I do apologise to the people who are putting effort into signing these signatures. A letter to your MP and your MEP, and even better, a visit to your MP. Right, I've got this to the health minister with about an hour of my time. The reality is that anything less than 100,000 signatures and nobody's even going to read it in Downing Street. It's that simple. Even the most successful petition that I've seen has accumulated less than 20,000 signatures after about a year. You know, for those people who are thinking, I'll sign a petition because that's as good as writing a letter, or even better, going to see one of your representatives, it just isn't. Okay, and I do think if we're claiming that this legislation could affect the lives of millions, and the best we can do is produce a petition with less than 20,000 signatures on it, I think people might doubt it. I think there's potential for them to do more harm than good if we're not careful. So sign the petitions by all means if they exist. For God's sake, don't create any more. There's enough out there with like 500 signatures on already. But if you want to do that, that's fine. But if you want to actually make sure that you're getting in people's faces and being a nuisance and bringing attention, write the letter. Use theyworkforus.com or whichever one it is. It's been publicised enough on here, and even better, get off your arse and go and see somebody, because that's worth 100,000 signatures, because I know there's a letter going to the government. But that's just that. Anyway, we're going to take a short break now. I've run over a bit because I've got on my soapbox. We're going to take a short break, and when I come back, we'll be joined by Tim. See you in a couple of minutes.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
And good evening, eventually. Took a little while to get things wound up and ready to go then, didn't it? But I'm here now, so welcome to Dave's Tackle Box on Sunday.
So there we go, I'm back in the room and not long to go now. So yeah, I was talking with my son, and he's watched me make things before.
And a very good evening to you. It is Tuesday the 20th of November 2012, and you are tuned into BBC
At Vapetrans TV Towers. Tonight being Wednesday night, it is time for the one and only chat show programme called VT Talk.
Tis the Haze Hour. Again, Keith was just saying if it wasn't for the titles, he wouldn't come and do the show. He loves them so much, don't you?
Alright.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
And welcome, Tim. Let's send you full screen. There we go. That's a bit better. Right. Now, I was just explaining to Tim in the break there that I was going to mention the eVic, and like I say, I'm only going to mention it very briefly tonight, and I'll do something a bit more detailed on it next week. But I saw a couple of comments come up in chat, so I'm just going to knock you off the screen for a second there, Tim. So if now's the time to pick your nose if you want to.
Yep.
They can still hear you, mind. So bear that in mind.
Okay, yep. Do it quietly.
I am holding up to camera for Tim's benefit the Ovali version of the eVic. Now, I think for all intents and purposes, it's the same unit. Even the packaging looked the same as the one that I saw on Dave Dawn's coverage. The only difference is that it says Ovali on the tube, which you probably can't quite make out with this low definition camera, but I'll fix that when I do a proper VT. The other obvious difference to it is that when you load the software up on your PC to program it, that is branded with Ovali, where the Joytech one says Joytech. One other significant difference with this version is that in the little instruction manual that comes with it, they point you to the Ovali USA website, ovaliusa.com, to download the MVR software that Dave Dawn was showing and the drivers. So obviously a lot of people know that there's a 1.2 version of the firmware out there, but that's still beta, so that's not actually being shown on the ovaliusa.com site. Now I thought until I've reviewed it, at least I'll stick with the recommended firmware, because I'm not sure. I think there's a 90% chance that I could download the 1.2 beta from the Joytech site and it would work, but it's not recommended. I'm not going to break it before I've reviewed it. So I'm on the 1.1 firmware version, and I recorded all the screenshots and everything in the process of upgrading that as I did it. So that will be coming next week. Initial thoughts are that it's nowhere near as scary to use as I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to be there for hours learning what to click and all the rest of it. I started with the 1.1 firmware version. I know a lot of people said the 1.0 was a bit of a pain. I put the 1.1 on and then started looking at it, and actually I found it a dream to use. There's a couple of things that you might have done differently, but it's certainly not scary to use. And I tell you what, it performs, doesn't it? And the best thing is it's got my name in it as well. But the translation on the software got the last name and first name the wrong way around, I noticed. So it says Mr. Vapor Happy. And it tells the time, seriously. I think it's a really good device so far, and I'm going to be taking a better look at it next week. Now, Tim, I know you've got one of these, haven't you?
I have indeed. It is in my hand now. Mine's got sat-nav.
Sat-nav?
No, it hasn't really.
Did you go for that instead of the optional toaster plug-in?
Instead of the optional toaster, yeah. No, I'm very, very happy with it. I've got the 1.2 software on mine. I've got it programmed to switch on hot and then cool down a bit through the vapor. It's really, really good. Hardly left my hand since I got it.
Yeah, good devices. And like I say, I will do proper coverage on that. But tonight, time is of the essence, and you've got like some really hot topics that you want to talk about. One particularly, and we'll go straight in with this one because the other one we can trim, and I think this one is definitely one that we need to give time to. In your own words, tell me about the kids and the mixing.
Right, yeah, I'm going to revisit the kids thing because we talked about it once before.
We did.
And now what has taken place is the e-cig is rather commonplace now in the local comprehensive school. I had an insider in the store the other day who happens to be a teacher at the school, and she was saying that the kids are whipping them out in class now as well, which is rather interesting. And as far as they are concerned at the moment, there's not really a lot they can do about it, but they have said please don't do it in class, but they're working on that, and there's going to be some school ruling coming soon. But the scarier thing about it is the kids are now being a little bit entrepreneurial, and they are buying mix kits off the internet. They're not getting them from the stores. I know that because I know exactly who has mix kits from me, for instance. And they're buying them from 2 or 3 people on the internet, and they're mixing the juices themselves, and they are selling them around their friends at the school. This is something that they are going to try and stamp out because, upon my advice to the school,
okay, let me just run that by you. Just make sure I heard this right. So these kids, these young budding entrepreneurs, are buying mixing kits from the internet. They are mixing juice and selling it to their classmates.
Absolutely correct. Yep. £3.50 for 10 mils. I've heard bandied around.
Yeah, well, I'd hazard a guess that they're not paying and charging VAT and filing tax returns on this. Yeah.
No. This is just something a few of them have got into.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are is they really ought not to be doing that. I mean, perhaps the kids are clever enough to understand all the ratios and get it right, but on the other hand, maybe not. I mean, it goes back to where's your juice being made? Oh, in Justin's kitchen, or in Justin's bedroom, or whatever like that.
I mean, so with school kids, worse.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably no nitrile gloves, no sterilised bottles, no sterilised syringes, just flinging it all in the bottle and making it work. But yeah, hey ho. I mean, if you're using it yourself, you can mix it how you like. But if you are actually passing it around to your friends, who are then your customers, then I think the school should definitely put a stop to it immediately. Really. Well, it's not one of.
It is quite scary, this, and it's certainly not the image that the juice trade would want to portray, I'm sure.
I mean, my thoughts are, I mean, I know the vendors that these kids have been buying off of because the names have been mentioned to me, but I shall keep those to myself, and I shall approach the vendors myself, and but it can't be stopped because obviously the kids are using PayPal, credit card, or whatever, and they're just clicking that button that says, "Are you over 18?" And it's so easy to do. They can't get it from the retailers unless, of course, their parents are buying it. It's something that needs to be sort of stopped. I'm fairly sure.
Yeah,
it needs
I have to be honest. Those little buttons that pop up on some vendor websites saying, "Are you 18?" I've often, as I've been thinking, "Damn it, that's another click I've got to administer to get past it." I've often wondered if anybody has ever clicked no. but yeah, yes, but PayPal should be a control, shouldn't it? Because you have to link it to a card.
Yeah, but kids have cards. Kids have cards from 14 nowadays. I mean, it used to be that if you
That's
had
true. It's not necessarily a credit card you have to
use,
is it? You can use a debit card or link it to a bank account, can't you? And there's no low age limit on that, is there?
None at all.
No, that is a little concerning, to say the least. I would have thought the school will have no problem controlling it because at the end of the day, they can administer any rules they want, can't they, on behaviour on the premises?
Yeah, they certainly can. I mean, they can obviously they're stopping in the classrooms. I mean, but the as far as I'm aware, teachers don't have as much power as they used to have. So actually confiscating something from somebody could actually be misconstrued as an assault if it has to be torn out of their hands. So
yes, I've forgotten the
teachers
times
are
that
a
we
little
live in
bit
there
careful.
for temporarily there. I know how my teachers would have dealt with something like that.
Yeah. Dragged screaming down the corridor and whipped in the headmaster's office.
And you'd never have seen the goods in question again. That is a little worrying. I mean, okay, you say you're going to approach the vendors that you know are involved in this, but obviously
yeah, I do.
You're seeing.
But there's not a lot I can do about it unless I know who the people are that are buying them by name. And perhaps get their accounts blocked. But
indeed, and you have to wonder if this is going on across the country also. So I mean, if anybody that's watching this is aware of anything like this going on in their area, it would be interesting to know. So if somebody wants to drop me a PM through the forum at forum.vaportrials.tv, or leave comments below the video on demand page for this show once it's finished, I'll definitely get back in touch with you, and because I'm interested to see whether that's an exceptional thing or whether this is going on any scale. To be honest with you.
Well, I think as the popularity of the product itself increases, all across the country, then things like this are going to spring up. I don't think we're particularly unique down here. E-cigs are popular all over the country now, so As soon as, I mean, kids are just genuinely nosy, and they start looking on the internet. They find out about mixing, and and hey, it's something to do, and it probably pays for their own vaping habit by making a few quid out flogging to their friends.
Yeah, and and it's just been pointed out in chat, and it's a very valid point indeed. That actually what they're doing is not illegal. There's no laws being broken here. But it does kind of make a mockery of the sort of voluntary code that vendors have been following to only sell to people aged 18 or above. So just to be clear on that, there's no law breaking going on here.
No, it's just the code of practice that we've all decided that we were going to run with.
It is. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, well, thank you for bringing that one up, Tim. What I'm going to do now is just flick over. I was sitting there getting stuff ready to go and see my MP on Friday, and I was thinking, okay, now I'll need some stats. I'm not going to go into huge detail or anything. But it occurred to me that, one of the things that I was intending to say to him was, if this stuff gets banned, everybody will go back to buying cigarettes, and if they don't do that, the chances are they'll try and import this stuff illegally anyway, or get their hands on it any which way they can, because the whole legality thing, it's not clear what will happen there and how things will be enforced. But I thought it would just out of interest, it spurred me to put a poll on the UK Vapers Forum. And I'm going to flick that up on the screen now, and hopefully this will work. Yeah, that works. Okay. So I asked, basically, I gave people 5 options. I said, right, what will you do if your liquid gets banned? Okay. And in my case, I mean this 30 milligram DY4 that I'm using right at the moment. If I can no longer get that, what would I do? And the options I gave people was, number 1, return to buying traditional cigarettes and tobacco. So in other words, will you go back down the corner shop and buy yourself back in a fax? Option 2 was use the regulated, possibly prescribed e-cigs or other NRT, because they would essentially become the same thing if they become medicines, from your doctor or your chemist, so just the same way as you would get patches today. Third option I gave people was to continue to source the nicotine or the liquid illegally, so maybe from China, risk importing it. Option 4 was to quit cold turkey. And option 5, and it has been commented to me that perhaps the wording of this needs to be made clear, but the idea was that you would continue vaping, but with the really low strength liquid that you'll be allowed. And I think perhaps it hasn't been made totally clear to people that you'll only be able to buy this in 1 ml measures. You won't be able to buy a 30 ml bottle of 4 milligram juice. And I'm not sure whether that's been clear. But to be honest, I've had 195 votes. Okay, so it's a really tiny section, and it's on a vaping enthusiast forum, so we have to bear that in mind. But it's pretty much overwhelming, the pattern that's starting to emerge. 62.5% of people reckon that they'll just continue finding the nicotine from somewhere. And let's be honest, it's going to be from China, isn't it? The Chinese, they'll quite happily write, I don't know, oil, essential oils or something on the customs labels, and and that's the way that they'll get it through. And we don't know what sort of resources and money that the government are likely to throw at enforcing this if the ban comes in. The next highest category was, and this one did surprise me a bit, nearly 16% of people are saying they'll continue to vape with 0 or low content juice. So I won't, because it just won't work. It just won't do it for me. 4 milligrams or less is just a farce. That's a tenth of what I'm using mostly. And I couldn't smoke vape 10 times as much. There aren't enough hours in the day. So, but the third highest option, therefore, was return to buying cigarettes. And I thought that would be higher, actually. I'll be honest. But I think, you know, a lot of people are determined not to do that, and fair play to them. But if you add it all up, that's 76% or thereabouts will either return to fags or try to get the juice on what would be a black market. Which is pretty much, broadly, that's pretty much what I expected. People will still get the nick if they can, and if they can't, they'll go back to fags. So, I mean, just a word from you on that one, Tim. What would you do?
Well, I would be sourcing my e-liquid illegally from wherever I could get something that I was half sensible. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Chinese won't start knocking stuff up that's not nice. People like Hang Sang and Jikang, they'll still be there. So happy to get mine from there. Once the stuff I've got in the freezer's run out, of course.
I mean, I think I would too. I'd be happy to carry on getting it from there. That I would have no issue with that. I would imagine that if you could bring it in unflavoured, there's nothing in the legislation to say you can't buy flavourings. So you know that they're sourced in the UK or whatever. But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting point, and you know, maybe people will want to have a little think what they do on that one. And when you considered all the options, go see your MP. I just bang my desk there, but not too hard because everything will fall over. Tim, it's time for our second break. I know that you've got a meat that you want, a meat in its embryonic form that you want to tell us about. Do it straight after this break. See you in a minute.
Okay, will do.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
iVapor and iVapor Elixir, based in Yorkshire, for your e-cig needs. That's ivapor.co.uk and ivapor-elixir.co.uk. iVapor and ivapor-elixir.co.uk, proud sponsors of vaportrails.tv. If you can't watch our shows live, try some of these. Go to YouTube at youtube.com/user/vaportrailstv and you can subscribe there. All of our shows are uploaded as soon as possible after they've gone out live. Enjoy watching it on YouTube, lots of people do. Alternatively, go to Google and type in podcast vaportrails.tv and iTunes. Click on the link and that will take you to a page that shows you the Vapor Trails TV podcast. View it in iTunes, and when you get to iTunes, don't forget to click on subscribe free, and each of the shows will be downloaded to your hard drive as soon as they come out. Or you can use video on demand. Go to www.vaportrails.tv, click on vPlayer, pick the show you want to watch, in this case it's the Haze Hour, and then you can pick the episode that you want to watch from every one that we've ever done. They're all there. Under normal circumstances, you'll watch it at 360p, which means everybody can see it. It'll go full screen. You can do whatever you want with it. So there you go, 3 ways that you can watch vaportrails.tv. Subscribe and enjoy. Thanks.
Cloud9 Vaping, sponsors of Dave's Tackle Box.
Back in the room. Hello again, Tim.
Hello.
Right, okay, so you mentioned to me earlier, can I mention a meet that's at the proposal stage, I think you said, or something like that. The planning stage, I think was the term you used.
Yes, the planning stage. Basically, south of England, vape meet. We're looking for a venue at this point. We're going back to World Vaping Day. 2 of us organised World Vaping Day down in Eastbourne, and it's the same 2 of us that are going to be organising the vape meet down here. So anyone that wants to come down, obviously, is more than welcome. We're hoping it's going to be a weekend affair with a little bit of drinking and entertainment and plenty of vaping. We're looking at getting some vendor support as well. So it should be sort of a mini vape fest, probably about the same size as the first vape fest, with a few more people. You know, it's just say it's something we think we can do quite well down here. We did okay with the World Vaping Day one, so we're going to give it another crack and see if we can get some numbers up, and of course get people in from London, all over Kent, Southampton, all around that sort of area, and as far up the country as people want to travel down.
That sounds
good. You know, and it's looking like being planned for sort of early summer. So we're talking June-ish, July, that sort of area.
That sounds like a great time.
September in the UK, do we? So yeah, that's what we're working on, and as things start to happen and we get some confirmations of venue and stuff like that, it will start appearing on UKV and being plugged on the radio and hopefully on here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always keen to promote vape meets and stuff on this show because I love them. And it goes without saying, if I can, I'll probably turn up at yours as well.
Superb. Well,
I have a bit of doing that. In fact, what a beautiful link. This is seamless television, folks. Because last week I went to a vape meet. Now, I just want to say a huge thank you to the guys that organised this, and I'll give them credit by name at the end of the VT. We had a great time last Saturday at the South Wales mini meet. It was held at the Panthrwydden Farm in Pencoed, which is sort of near Bridgend. So just if you're from like where I am, you just got some kind of error message there about an internet connection problem. So if I lose you, Tim, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, you kind of go past Cardiff, but not as far as Swansea. That's a good description. It was a great time. I took the cameras, and here's the VT. Tim, going to cut you loose now while I roll this VT.
Okay, mate.
Fantastic to have you on again. Thank you very much. Some great discussion
That's
there.
all right.
And we'll see you next week, mate.
See you next week. Cheers,
Let's
Dave.
have a look at the South Wales mini meet.
I will.
To the Panthrwydden Farm Premier Inn, which is like on the same site as the Panthrwydden Farm pub, which is where the South Wales mini meet is going to be starting sort of in an hour or something. So I've just got time to dump my bag, get my little box of vaping bits and bobs together, and then I'm going to go across and have a beer and meet the lads.
Oh, nice. Icelandic.
And you won't be needing it. Yeah, make me some 10 litres and
How do you get this on? Head first or? Yeah, stick your chin and just drag it over.
What's in there, Tom?
Menthol Loco.
You could have got half an hour this. Oh, not even got he can take.
Too much menthol.
It's like snorting Vicks, isn't it?
It's not working.
What?
It's not that bad. Well, again, do you give me film? No, it's about 29 again.
Just in case I have to film. Right, so we've just been sort of asked to stop vaping inside because I think specifically because of two things. One was the menthol loco in the gas mask, which was potent at about 20 yards as far as I could tell. And then there was another thing which we're about to taste, or at least Goatee is about to taste. Pete, what is it again?
It's an e-juice made from rotting Icelandic sharks, which is a delicacy in Iceland, and it's called hakal. And they basically dig the shark up, they bury it for 6 months, and then they dig it up and eat it.
Rotting Icelandic shark, great. Goatee, go for it.
It's very smooth. I think he wants to chip through this. It's a slight fishy aftertaste. It's actually quite nice. 5 drops, so bottle by there if you need more. Don't be put off by the smell. Is it? I mean, it's not nice, but rotten shaft. It's not bad, is it? No.
That's not bad.
Mind you, having said that, some of the things I've eaten surströmming, which is, if you're not physically 4 feet in the water,
That'll be the, yes, the herring equivalent.
I mean, my wife won't come within 20 feet of the surströmming.
Yeah.
Even sealed.
Yeah.
Surprisingly nice, actually.
Yeah.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, not bad. I've got about a quarter of a litre of concentrate.
It's actually more than vaguely reminiscent of caviar.
It's more like caviar than caviar vape I did, which vaped like cod liver oil. Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds vile.
It was a very expensive experiment. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, it tastes better than it smells, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's setting the bar quite low.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, so
It does taste better than it smells. A lot better.
it's alright, just check to see if I can film that.
It's the morning after the night before, and I've just had my breakfast and I'm about to head home. I know this video will be watched by Goatee and Cybernoid, who organised the meet. I'd just like to say thanks very much, well done guys. Had a thoroughly good time, fair amount to drink, but it was great fun. Met lots of new people. I'll come into the next one. So well done boys, and see you next time.
El Chorro, the only way to vape.
And that was the South Wales mini meter, and it was a great laugh. And as you'll have recognised Glenn, aka Romastino there, you know, it's the only way to vape. Very fitting. That rotting shark juice, I forget the proper name of it now, but it's some Icelandic delicacy, and as Pete Cole, that was Peter Cole of Decadent Vapors, describing what they do is they catch a shark and then they bury it for 6 months and then they dig it up and eat it, and that stuff was potent. It really smelled bad. Crab juice, forget it. You know, this was great. But vape meets, I've watched the chat there as it went past, a number of people saying, oh, we should have a meet, we should have a meet. Yeah, it's if I've learned one thing, try and avoid restaurants as venues for vaping, because they seem to end in tears quite a lot. But the two organisers of that one, they're Goatee and Cybernoid, who you saw there with the mask. They did a great job of organising that meet, and I'm yet to go to a vape meet where the atmosphere isn't fantastic and everybody gets on. It's a good way of trying new juice, including, I mean, where else could you try rotting shark e-juice? I mean, really. Or menthol loco in a gas mask. I mean, where else could you do that? It's a great way of trying new kits if you're thinking of making an expensive purchase. Chances are somebody at one of these meets will have one. I encourage you to do it. Do it. I'll advertise it for you on here. We'll put it on the forums. And as I say, I get along to as many of these as the missus will let me get to, frankly, because they're always good fun. But tonight's show has reached the end. I can see Kat there getting ready to say, get off the air, Kitson. And it's going to happen. Next week, we're going to be having a look, a much closer look at the eVic. I haven't mixed any juice for a long time. But next week, I'm going to be doing that a bit as well. So until then, thanks for watching. Find me credits. See you next week. Good night.